though, with the oil pastel, one thing I want you guys to do too is to look for shadows. Where are shadows? And that's why we had that white paper, is to see these obvious shadows. You don't have to put it everywhere, but if you see it, I mean, you don't have to bend around and look for it, but if you see a shadow, put it in. All right, I need your eyes up here, please. So we're going to be using oil pastels. And with the oil pastels, they're a lot like crayons, but they're going to blend a whole lot better. All right, so the oil pastels have been used a couple of times. Most of these are brand new, but they've been used, when I say brand new, they were brand new on Friday. But they've already been used, and so they look like they've just been beaten up and everything. They're still really good. They're in good shape. This peach, I think it's peach, yep, has been dirtied with red. So the best way to clean these is to just take some paper towel and then just basically swipe it on the paper towel, and you can see the reds transferring on it. So that's how you clean them. It's just a little extra paper towel. They are also going to need to, once in a while, be exposed a little bit more. And what I mean by that is I'm going to take just the tip of this, and I'm going to tear off a little bit of this wrapper. Don't take the entire wrapper off, because otherwise they tend to break just a little bit or too much. So anyway, you can take the wrapper off and get more exposed so you can use it. And then that's how you clean them. That's how you begin. All right, so what you are going to do is apply the rule of thirds. And what I mean by that is every object is going to have 3 or more colors in the object. Okay? Everyone is going to have 3 or more colors in the object. And so I want you to start with a color that you actually see in that object and then add to it. For example, this is one of the dominoes. And so what are the domino colors? White. So I'm going to start with white. By the way, too, the other thing you may need to do is go ahead and lighten up your pencil lines. You can get the erasers in the cups and just kind of skim them over the top and lighten it up. But do that before you begin, because we don't want those to be really strong and dominant. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. But anyway, I'm going to start with white because that's pretty much the main color of dominoes. But when I'm not going to just finish with white or leave it just white, I'm going to go ahead and color it with the oil pastel. And then, do you guys have any suggestions for color? Nope, we're not going to do black. Black, I will tell you, I put black in there because it is definitely something we can use, but I don't want you to overuse it. So I'm already going to say, nope, don't want black. Somebody said red. What other colors?
Green.
Blue, green. Okay. I think I'm going to go with the blue, green. And so I'm going to go, and I actually have like 2 greens here. So I might even do, a little bit of that and a little bit of this blue. So I'm going to put a little bit of green down here, light green. Oh, I didn't clean it. Probably should have. I'm going to put a touch of the dark green on the bottom area here, and then just kind of streak it up a little bit. The other thing to think about with the oil pastels is don't worry about blending with your finger. That's going to be a no-no in this. All right, so I'm going to leave that for now. Maybe I'll put a little bit of blue like right here, just a skim of it, and we'll see what happens. Put a little bit more up here to the top. This is what I mean by mixing the colors. You don't have to spread the colors over the whole thing. You're just going to put them on. Now, here's the trick. I started with white. I'm going to end with white in this area. And white is going to be my blending color. Can you see what's happening down here? Let me get in a little bit. So instead of using my finger to blend, I'm going to take the oil pastel and go over the top of it. See how that's blending? Okay. To the point where these colors are no longer separate. They're starting to blend together a little bit. And I think at the top here, I like the blue, but I think I'm going to add just a touch of green to kind of balance out the green and blue here. The other thing you want to be, you don't want to do, don't be tempted to take your finger and push these off because you're going to smear. So instead, you're going to take some paper towel and just kind of tap it on the paper towel a little bit. If you need to, like this little part right here, I'm going to pick it up with the oil pastel like this. And then I can clean the oil pastel off and get rid of those little chunks. So I would do this entire domino. Like over here, I'm gonna put, I've already got white down, so I think I'll put a little bit stronger green on this side with the white and blend it over and put a little blue in here and there. And then I'm going to go to the other objects. And I may say, you know what, I'm going to work on the domino for a little bit and then I'm going to come back to it later. So this is one of those brayers. I'm going to skip to this real quick. The brayers are what? Nope, they're actually those reddish maroon things that were in your buckets. So I'm going to start with I don't have a maroon for an oil pastel, and that's just fine. We're going to classify this to start as a red. So I'm going to put a little red in here. Anybody want to throw out a color they think I should use with this brayer? Ooh, I heard yellow and brown. Oh, I like those. I'm going to start with those two colors because I haven't used them yet. So as I go through this, I'm going to say, okay, and notice I'm not covering up every bit of my brayer. There's some white specks there. So now I'm going to take a little bit of yellow. It's going to turn it kind of orangish. That's okay. It does not have to match the actual brayer. My rule is rule of thirds and then rule of thirds, 3 or more colors, and start with one color that you see for your object. But from there you can change it. So somebody said brown. I think I'll go ahead and add a little bit of brown, but I'm not going to use the entire area of brown, or the brayer is not going to be covered with brown. I'm going to add some right here. And it didn't do a whole lot, but it does change the color of this red by adding this brown. Don't you think? Changed it a little bit. Maybe it's hard to see on the screen. In fact, maybe I'm going to add a third color. I'm going to try a little bit of purple in this. I'm going to try just a little bit of purple on this side. It is, and that's okay. You can do more than 4 or more than 3 colors. If I didn't say that, that's a great question because now it's answered everybody's. You can use more than 3. It's just you have to use 3 throughout every object. Does that make sense? All right, so that's a good start for the color of my brayer. Now again, look at that. That is not a typical domino color, is it? I started with white because that's what I see in dominoes is white, but I'm going to add to it, I'm going to embellish it, I'm going to change it, I'm going to make it my own. It does not have to look like a real domino. Here's a little thing though. The one thing that is going to make this look like a domino is the shape of it and the spots. The spots are in there, the spots are going to remain. If I want to use black, can I get your eyes up here, please? You can use black, but it's going to be really, really, really sparingly. All right? This stripe right here, I think, was black. So I'm going to make it blue and green. I already have those in my domino anyway. But then I'm going to add a touch of black. Those two colors tend to go with the black pretty well. But that's going to look like a pretty natural black to start with. But I added those 3 colors to make that black line in my domino. All right. Again, black should not cover your entire thing. Don't let that be a really strong color because it is so dark. All right.